But I think that is the beauty of the All India services, and that anyone can aspire to this job. You don't have to come from a rich family, you don't have to come from from Delhi itself. You can be from the margins of Kerala, from Manipur, from Punjab, Srinagar. So anyone can make it if you really want to, and I think that is amazing. Hello everyone, welcome to Officers on Duty. I'm Pooja Elangbam, IAS 2018 batch. I'm currently serving as SDO Porompat, Imphal East, and today I'll be talking about my experience after clearing UPSC and getting IAS and then going for training to Labasna. So on the first day of, when we were supposed to report to Labasna, we went to the reception, got our ID card, telling us that which service we've been assigned to, and I got IAS. After that, we were allocated a hostel. I got Ganga, and I went to find my room, got all my luggage there, saw my room, met my roommates. She was from another service, she was from the postal service. We met, we talked, asked about each other. Then we were supposed to proceed to the auditorium for our orientation and to meet our director, to meet all the faculty. So we proceeded there, and the faculty introduced themselves, and they told us about the different courses out there, and they expected FC to be full of fun as well as learning. I used to think that once you clear the civil services examinations, that's the end of exams, because that's what my parents have been telling me. But I remember once going there and being told that we have several more exams to give. So, but we took it in our stride, and they told us that we'll have a lot of fun activities as well, such as FC Trek, we'll have India Day, we'll have village visit, and even Bharat Darshan, the biggest of all. So Bharat Darshan, 2-month long trip all over India to learn about various cultures and various states and the organizations. So it was very exciting to hear all this. And then, we proceeded. From the next day itself, we had PT. PT was compulsory, so many of us found it very difficult to wake up in the morning. And unfortunately, we had biometric attendance, so there was no way we could bunk it. And I still remember, if you bunked PT once, then you'll have something called a penal PT. So you'll have to do extra PT the next day. So most of us, we ended up waking ourselves quite early and proceeding for PT. But even then I realized that it was so much fun. You meet people, you jog around, and you became so much fitter. I was always quite, even though I'm not a sports person as such, but I have been quite athletic throughout my school and college life. So in Labasna, I continued again with that tradition. I remember being top 5 during our marathon. So it was really amazing to actually become very healthy in the kind of environment which is Mussoorie. It has amazing air quality, and away from the plains of Delhi, and the weather is always amazing throughout the year. And it was wonderful to meet people from all walks of life, because many of them had been engineers, doctors, they had worked in corporate houses. Many of them were as young as just passed out of college, 21, 22. So it was amazing to meet such diverse crowd from all parts of the country, and they had amazing stories to tell, some of them very difficult to hear. People came from very difficult backgrounds, but I think that is the beauty of the All India services, and that anyone can aspire to this job. You don't have to come from a rich family, you don't have to come from from Delhi itself. You can be from the margins of Kerala, from Manipur, from Punjab, Srinagar. So anyone can make it if you really want to, and I think that is amazing, and that is what you get to see during the training. So a lot of activities take place in Labasna. One of them is we have a lot of clubs. We have the nature club, we have the sports club, and we have horse riding club, shooting club. So I was part of 2-3 of them. I did not stand for elections because I wanted to go and try out as many clubs as possible, but several of my friends did, and it was really exciting because you have to pitch why you should be elected as the president of a certain club. So it was very exciting. People went around canvassing for it, and you get to participate. Like, for example, I was very excited about horse riding. So it's something which I think it's a traditional IAS thing that, like, from the time when it was by the British, instituted by the British as the Indian Civil Service, horse riding was a very mandatory thing for all bureaucrats. So it was very exciting to learn that. And after that, we had classes, we had PT. All these classes were also very engaging. We had a lot of people, prominent people, from the corporate sphere, from the governmental sphere, from civil society organizations. They came and told us about the kind of work they had been doing. So we learned about transgender problem, the issues they face, how to make it more inclusive for them. And I think it really helped me even when I started working here. So all the things which we learned in Labasna was a great blessing. Apart from that, one of the most exciting things we did was the Himalayan trek. That's part of the foundation course. So firstly, I would just like to tell you a little bit about what the foundation course is. That's when all the services together, we meet and we have a course for 3 months together in Labasna, and we do several things together. So to build this esprit de corps, and it actually means that inter-service camaraderie, so that we learn from each other and we actually take this connection even after this course, so that we help each other out, and this cooperation actually enables the nation to run better if we understand each other and we respect each other's services. So FC was all about that, and therefore they made sure that all our pairings in groups or in even any activity, we did it with someone who was other than our own service. So my roommate was from the postal service, my trek partner was from the IPS, in some other activity it was a foreign service or forest service. So that's how you learn from each other. So I met wonderful friends during FC. They were all very funny, and we spent a lot of time grumbling about how long we had to trek. And I remember our group leader kept telling us that we'll reach in 10 minutes. He kept saying that the entire day, and we never reached the place. And then there was an episode where we heard about a bear sighting from one of the locals. So we were very scared because we didn't know what to do if we actually met a bear during our trek. But unfortunately, we did not. We just heard rumors about it. I don't know how true it was, but it was quite exciting. I mean, we had fires. We made firesides. We talked about our lives. We made a lot of videos. We danced. We sang. So it was a very wonderful time to bond. Even though it was just for 10 days, I felt that, we learned so much from each other, from each other's lives, heartbreaks, what motivated them to actually opt for this career. And it was just a wonderful time. And then we had something called the village visit. So I went to a village in Rajasthan along with 5 other people. We mapped the entire village. We met the sarpanch, we met the women, we met the panchayat. So we learned about, how the village functions, and we learned about who takes care of different parts and if they're functioning well, whether the primary health center was functioning well, whether the schools are being run well, whether the Anganwadi centers are being done well. So, and we actually interacted with them at their homes. We met them, we talked to them, we ate food with them. So, we learned whatever was lacking in that area. We also learned what good things they were doing in that area, and we submitted a report. So these kind of interactions, I think it brings you closer to the people of India instead of just talking about, or reading about them in our books. It's another special experience to actually hear from them and hear from the people at the ground, in the fields, making this country run. And I think the Bharat Darshan is also a continuation of that. Apart from that, we have India Day. That's when we showcase different parts of the state, people from several, whichever cadre you are assigned to, or whichever state you come from, you try to portray their songs and dances and theatre and food. So we had a wonderful time organizing it. I was part of the Northeast group, and even though there were not many of us, there were just 5-6 of us from the Northeast who got through that year. However, a lot of people from other parts of the country who got Northeast cadre, they also joined us. So we made it much bigger, and it was lots of fun. We sourced costumes. Since I was the only one from Manipur at that time, I was teaching a lot of people Manipuri dance. I'm not a great dancer myself, however, I tried my best, and I think it was a lot of fun. Everyone had fun learning how to dance, how to sing in Manipuri, and they found the songs very catchy and fun. So that's how we learn about each other, by eating food from different places, by trying out costumes from different parts of the country and learning the dances, learning the stories and culture. I think that's how we truly make India's diversity its strength. So after the end of foundation course, I remember the last day when just out of the blue, I started crying, and so many of my friends also started crying, because we knew that this was the end of something very special to us. And my friends from the police service, from the foreign service, we all hugged each other, and we cried like babies. So that was the end of FC. After that, we went straight for Bharat Darshan. So Bharat Darshan is a 2-month-long journey around India, and we go in groups. So there was 18 of us in our group, and we started from Jammu. And the first posting was an army attachment, and it's always very special. I think this 10 days of army attachment is something I'll carry with me, because we actually stayed with the army personals at the border, at the line of control. We actually learned how they live in these areas, and while staying there, we were patrolling at the border. We met all the troops stationed there, and I came across so many of them who were from Manipur and Nagaland, and they were so happy to see me, because I realized that these men who are protecting our country live so far away from home, and they barely get to go back once or twice a year. So I met them, talked to them, and they said they have these problems with land, revenue, whatever small problems they have at home. And I always said they are welcome, their families are always welcome, and I'll try to expedite it as much as possible if I'm in that responsibility, in that seat of responsibility. So I met them, and when we were staying there, when there was shelling from the border, so it was very scary. We went inside a bunker and we stayed there, but that was an interesting and a very scary experience as well, because and they made sure that we never took off a bulletproof vest and a helmet, which was very heavy for me. And I was complaining throughout that why am I being made to wear this? Can I just take it off for a few minutes? But then I realized when the shelling happened, I was like, that's why we need it, because it can happen anytime. And I think that's the kind of hardship they face, the kind of difficult terrain which is there. I will always remember how hard it is for our troops at the border, and we should never take their work for granted, their job for granted, and whatever way we can help them at their homes, getting whatever schemes they require, or whatever pension or whatever is required. I feel that we really need to expedite them and help them out, and I still try to do that. After that, we went to Rajasthan. We learned about the kind of smart city development they're doing in Jaipur, Udaipur, the kind of tourism which Rajasthan, I think they have packaged the tourism so well. So I think other states from other parts of the country need to learn from them, and how they have actually collaborated with the private hotels and the Maharajas to actually make it a very wonderful destination. So that's what we learned. Then we went to Gujarat. We learned about how well their corporate world is doing out there. We learned about the culture of how even though people are well to do there, but they never show off, and they're very humble, and it's very efficient. Things are done very efficiently there. Then we traveled to places like Lakshadweep, which is actually very difficult even for an Indian citizen to travel, because you have to take special permit there, and it's actually tiny, tiny islands. Like we could actually walk the entire island in 3-4 hours. So that's actually what we did. We took cycles, or we walked around several islands, and we went and talked to people. So it was a wonderful experience. And I think what I took away from this is, when you meet people on the ground, because in India we have a lot of this misunderstanding about other cultures and other parts of the country. We'll say that, oh, you're too proud, you're too smug, or Punjabis are like this, Manipuris are like this, Keralites are like this. But when you actually meet them and talk to them, you realize they are so much like you, and they have stories to tell. You have to listen to them, and you have to help them and help them achieve what they want to. I mean, you cannot make them rich, or you cannot make them perfect, but as our work as a civil servant is to guide them and to enable them to get what is required, whether it's the right to education, whether it's the right to food, or the right to health. So we should be able to act as a facilitator for these services. And I think that's what I realized, because people are smart, people are passionate, and they will achieve what they want. We just have to help them go to that. So after the Bharat Darshan, we got started with our phase 2. That's a more serious aspect of our training, because now we are only left with the Indian administrative services. All the other services, they have gone to their respective institutes to train further. And so we start with a more rigorous course, and we have more of government servants, former and prominent government servants, coming to teach us how it works and actually what happens on the ground. So one of the inspiring speakers I met was Mr. Anil Swarup. He was a former retired civil servant, and he had served as Education Secretary. He had worked really hard, and I felt that even after retirement, he's doing so much, continuing with this tradition of service even after. So I felt very inspired by that. And I think by the end of phase 1, we realized that our work is a very serious one, and we need to take it with the solemnity, with the dignity, with the honesty that is required of us. However, that doesn't mean that we become inaccessible to the people, because I think that is what happens many times. We take ourselves a bit too seriously and feel that we are better than other people. So I think we need to stay humble, stay modest, keep ourselves as interactive as possible with people in the ground. And I think that's the lessons which I drew from the Basna. And I'm sure that those of you who are aspiring and working for it, once you get to this service, you'll also feel the same when you come to this institution.